Life is full of noise. We hear so many voices every day. Friends, family, and even strangers all have something to say. But there are two voices that are very important: God's voice and Satan's voice. They both want our attention. They both want to guide us. But they offer very different paths. God speaks to us in a way that brings peace and hope. He wants what is best for us. Satan, on the other hand, wants to trick us. He wants us to make bad choices. He wants to lead us away from God. It is important to learn how to tell these voices apart. God's voice will always lead us towards love, joy, and peace. Satan's voice will always lead us towards fear, doubt, and despair. Learning to listen to God's voice is a journey. It takes time and practice, but it is the most important thing we can do in our lives. God's voice is like a gentle guide. It never forces or pushes us. Instead, it speaks to our hearts in a quiet and peaceful way. When we hear God's voice, we feel calm and reassured. Imagine a time when you were afraid. Did you think of someone who loved you? Did you remember a time when you felt safe? That feeling of love and safety is like God's voice. He speaks to us in the language of love. God's voice might come to us in different ways. We might read something in the Bible that speaks to our situation. We might hear a song or a sermon that gives us comfort. We might simply have a feeling deep inside that tells us what is right. The important thing is to pay attention to those moments when we feel close to God. Those are the times when we are most likely to hear His voice. Satan's voice is the opposite of God's. It is full of lies and deception. Satan wants to trick us into believing things that are not true. He wants to make us doubt ourselves and our faith. Satan's voice might tell us that we are not good enough or that God does not love us. It might tempt us to do things that we know are wrong. It might try to make us feel afraid or alone. The good news is that we do not have to listen to Satan's voice. We can choose to turn away from it and focus on God instead. When we resist Satan, he will flee from us. One way to resist Satan's voice is to know the truth. When we know what God says about us, we are less likely to believe Satan's lies. We can find truth in the Bible and in the teachings of Jesus. Imagine a radio with many stations. Each station plays different music. To hear your favorite song, you have to tune your radio to the right frequency. Listening to God's voice is similar. You have to tune out the noise of the world and focus on Him. How do you tune in to God's frequency? One way is by spending time in quiet reflection. Find a quiet place where you can be alone with your thoughts. Close your eyes and focus on your breath. Ask God to speak to you. Another way to tune in to God is by reading the Bible. The Bible is like a letter from God to us. It tells us everything we need to know about Him and His plan for our lives. As you read the Bible, ask God to help you understand what He is saying to you. Remember, hearing God's voice is a journey, not a destination. There will be times when you hear Him clearly and times when you don't. But if you keep seeking Him, you will find Him. He promises to be with you always.